Imagine willingly locking yourself away from the world for over a year, cut off from fresh air, natural sunlight, and human contact beyond your three companions, all in the name of science. That's exactly what one British woman is preparing to do, and her story reveals just how far humanity will go to reach the stars. Laura Marie, a UK-born pilot who now flies commercial aircraft for a regional US airline, has achieved something extraordinary. She fought her way past approximately 8,000 other hopefuls to secure her spot as one of 6 research volunteers preparing for NASA's grueling Mars simulation experiment. But here's where it gets controversial. Is subjecting humans to such extreme psychological and physical isolation actually ethical, even in the name of scientific progress? The mission Marie is training for involves spending 378 consecutive days sealed inside Mars, Dune Alpha, a compact 158 square meter habitat that's been 3D printed to simulate life on the red planet. Located at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston, this artificial Martian environment will become home to 4 primary crew members: Ross Elder, Ellen Ellis, Matthew Montgomery, and James Spicer, who are scheduled to begin their isolation on October 19th. Marie holds a unique position as one of 2 alternate participants, which means she's preparing with the same intensity and commitment as the primary crew, ready to step in if someone drops out. I'm approaching this with the exact same mentality as everyone else, that I'll be spending those full 378 days in there, Marie explained during her interview. This backup role might seem less glamorous, but it actually requires even more mental preparation, as she must stay ready for deployment while potentially watching others live out her dream. What makes this experiment particularly fascinating, and some might argue concerning, is that it represents the second phase of NASA's CHAPIA program, Crew Health and Performance Exploration Analog. The space agency is essentially conducting long-term human behavioral experiments to gather critical data about how people's physical health, psychological state, and performance capabilities change during extended isolation. And this is the part most people miss. These aren't just volunteers playing space explorer. They're human test subjects whose every move, mood, and physical response will be monitored and analyzed. The daily routine inside this artificial Mars world will mirror what actual astronauts might face on the red planet. The crew will cultivate crops, operate robotic equipment, conduct simulated spacewalks outside their habitat, and test various technologies designed specifically for Mars exploration. They'll also face deliberately introduced challenges like equipment malfunctions and communication breakdowns to see how they respond under pressure. Marie's journey to this point began in Devon, England, where she developed her early fascination with aviation and space exploration. After immigrating to the United States in 2016, she built her career as a commercial pilot, while nurturing her dream of working with NASA. Her academic background combines a bachelor's degree in philosophy with a master's in aeronautics, an interesting blend that perhaps reflects the unique mindset needed for such an undertaking. I've always harbored professional aspirations of collaborating with NASA in some capacity, Marie shared. When I learned about the first CHAPIA mission while it was already underway, everything just clicked into place. I saw this incredible opportunity and knew I had to pursue it. Her timing was particularly strategic as she chose not to contact the previous mission's crew members to avoid any potential bias in her own experience, a decision that demonstrates the scientific rigor underlying this entire endeavor. But here's what might surprise you about the selection process. It wasn't just about technical qualifications or physical fitness. Marie and her fellow crew members have already undergone extensive psychological evaluation and team-building exercises as part of NASA's rigorous screening process. I have complete confidence in our crew dynamics, Marie noted with characteristic optimism. I would gladly confine myself with any of these individuals for the duration of the mission. Yet the psychological challenges ahead shouldn't be underestimated. Marie, who describes herself as someone who thrives in natural environments and spends considerable time outdoors, acknowledges that the sensory deprivation will be particularly difficult. The absence of simple pleasures like feeling wind or smelling grass might seem trivial, but for someone accustomed to the freedom of outdoor spaces, these losses could become psychologically significant over time. Perhaps even more challenging will be the artificial communication delays built into the simulation. Unlike astronauts aboard the International Space Station, who can communicate with Earth in real time, Marie and her crew will experience the same delayed communications that would occur during an actual Mars mission. Every message to mission control will face a significant lag, creating an unprecedented level of isolation from the outside world. This element alone raises questions about the psychological impact of such extreme disconnection from real-time human contact. Despite these daunting challenges, Marie is preparing for the lighter moments, too. She's packing a Rubik's Cube with ambitious plans that go beyond simple entertainment. "I'm not just planning to learn how to solve it," she revealed with determination. "I want to break a record." This mindset reflects the kind of goal-oriented thinking that probably helped her stand out among thousands of applicants. Training begins next week at Johnson Space Center, where Marie and her colleagues will fine-tune their preparation for what could be one of the most psychologically demanding experiments ever conducted on human subjects. The fact that this represents the second of 3 planned Shapia missions raises its own set of questions about the ethics and necessity of repeatedly subjecting volunteers to such extreme conditions. What makes Marie's story even more compelling is her unwavering commitment to the bigger picture. When asked about the possibility of joining an actual Mars mission, something NASA hopes to achieve in the 2030s, her response was immediate and enthusiastic. "I would absolutely accept that opportunity without hesitation," she declared. "I believe becoming a multiplanetary species represents humanity's future direction, and I want to contribute to that vision in whatever way possible, whether through this Shapia program or other initiatives." This brings us to a fundamental question that divides public opinion. Is the enormous investment in Mars exploration and simulation justified when we face so many pressing challenges here on Earth? Marie clearly believes the answer is yes, but critics argue that the resources dedicated to these space endeavors could address poverty, climate change, or healthcare crises instead. The broader implications of Marie's journey extend far beyond one woman's space dreams. Her participation in this experiment represents a crucial step toward understanding whether humans can psychologically and physically survive the journey to Mars and establish sustainable colonies there. The data collected from her experience and that of her fellow crew members will directly influence how NASA designs future spacecraft, mission protocols, and crew selection processes. As Marie prepares to potentially sacrifice more than a year of her life for this scientific endeavor, it's worth considering whether we're asking too much of these volunteers. The psychological research on isolation and confinement suggests that 378 days of artificial living could have lasting effects on participants, even after they return to normal life. What do you think about this extreme approach to space exploration research? Is it ethical to subject humans to such prolonged isolation, even when they volunteer willingly? And perhaps more importantly, should we be investing billions in Mars colonization efforts while our own planet faces environmental and social crises? Marie's story forces us to grapple with these complex questions about humanity's priorities and the price of scientific progress. Share your thoughts. Do you see Marie as a courageous pioneer, pushing the boundaries of human knowledge, or as a participant in an unnecessarily risky experiment that prioritizes space exploration over earthbound concerns?